I'm an incel. Ask me anything. I am so excited for this video. This is a 3-year-old video from Jubilee.
If you could summarize your opinion towards women.
Like what I think of them?
Yes.
I do think they are very important, but...
Or for involuntarily celibate. An incel is a member of an online subculture that centers around not being sexually active despite desiring to be.
Some topics are hard to approach.
More and more male hatred against women is rising up.
You might call this a new phenomenon.
Either the subjects are inaccessible or people are uncomfortable discussing them.
If you're an ugly guy, you better get a good job and make some money.
As of 2018, incels are labeled as a male supremacy hate group by the SPLC? What is the SPLC? Southern Poverty Law Center? That can't be it. Southern Poverty Law Center? What does that even mean?
Nobody's gonna want to talk to you.
Girls, I will destroy you.
You don't deserve to get laid at all!
So we found those subjects in person, rented a space in Hollywood, and invited our audience and any strangers walking by to come inside and ask them anything.
Okay. Hey, I'm Brendio. I also go by Derek. I'm an incel, and I'm here to answer people's questions about the topic.
Wait, there's no way there's people that unironically go around actually saying, like, I'm an incel, right?
I can start. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
So you're an incel?
Yes.
Why would you ever sign up to do this?
I suppose I would want to give more of a positive light on this community, which is a very negative light upon it.
Okay, and do you think that's a good thing?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because a lot of the boys in this community aren't bad people.
But you acknowledge that a good handful of them are, right?
Not a good handful, I would say a small handful.
Who hurt you, or what happened? What event sort of catalyzed this way of thinking and you getting into this kind of research?
Research?
Society.
Do you hate women?
No.
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 Do you have a female role model in your life?
A female role model?
Yeah, like a mom or an aunt or a friend?
I mean, I love my mom. I wouldn't necessarily consider her a role model, but I do love her quite a bit.
If a woman was elected as president of the United States, how would you react?
I don't know. It probably would depend on the woman. I probably wouldn't be supportive of it, honestly. But
Why do you say that, if you don't mind me asking?
I do think that men should be the leaders and women should be the caregivers and the loving, supporting, and the teachers in some cases.
Since women of color or just women in general have been oppressed by certain systems and other oppressed communities, especially LGBTQ+, all those don't really fit with the spectrum that incels or you have been talking about. So why do you think your method of thought would help fix what we have today?
I probably wouldn't view the things that you might view as oppression as oppression. I have a feeling. I would view it more as how we treat children that we love. We control them, but we control them lovingly, not as a slave, not as we're forcing them to do things against their will. I would view it more as a loving domestic thing in the past. And I would say that if we were to do it in a civilized way, maybe in a more, even a Christian way, even though I'm not really advocating for a certain religion or ideology, I would assume that women would probably be happier. And I wouldn't just assume that blindly. I would assume that based on the data that I have seen.
What data?
This is amazing. That condescending answer was unreal. He's basically saying, like, look, we don't let children work. And in the same way, I'd like to say we shouldn't let women work. Kevin, the 36-month re-membership. Hey, Henry, how's it going? Kevin, thank you so much for the 3 years, dude. Sorry, 3 years. I appreciate it, man. Little dab for Kevin there. Appreciate the love, brother. We are currently reacting to a video called I'm an Incel, Ask Me Anything, where we're getting some serious insight on what this young man right here thinks of women. I guess. This guy basically just said, look, we should treat women like we treat small children, right? Like, oh, that's cute that you want to like grow up and think that you can actually hold your own, but leave that to the men. We make the decisions out here. We vote. We have a voice. You don't. That's cute. Am I wrong in interpreting that's literally just what he said?
Have you seen that has brought you to this conclusion? Because I'm now...
And he has data, by the way, that thinks that women would be happier if they weren't working.
Curious where I can get this.
So like another Andrew Tate? Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to say a lot of. I'd say specifically around like the red pill community. That's kind of spawned out of like, which I would say is kind of spawned out of Andrew Tate, the Andrew Tate movement a little bit. The red pill community, I would say, is a little bit incel. There's probably a lot of overlap.
Data from?
I couldn't reference it offhand, but I believe there was a study that I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Okay. What do you think it is about liberal areas that create behavior in women that you think is a problem?
Promiscuity leads to increased standards in more primitive aspects such as looks, and that typically makes it harder for some people to find a relationship, including sometimes good-looking people. Like, there's guys who are much better looking than I am who are having a really hard time finding someone in a place like LA or in London or in Auckland, New Zealand, but they probably would have a perfectly fine time finding a woman somewhere else.
So you think that promiscuity...
Dude, that's so. Is he saying that he just deserves a woman just for the sake? It's like reaching an age. It's like by the age of 18, here you go. Here's your female. It's fucking wild.
is the problem, and if people were more monogamous and more withholding, that would sort of fix society.
Yeah, I suppose if people were more traditionalist.
There have been a few mass shootings in the past where these shooters actually stated that they were incels or were radicalized by online incels. What do you think about their actions?
I condemn their actions. I don't believe violence is the solution. I don't believe attacking random people is going to fix anything, whether they're, women or men. I do think that the reason why they committed those actions was probably because of out of desperation or out of, mental problems that probably could have been prevented had the right support was in their community, in their house.
I think what's weirdest about this is like listening to him talk, and you can tell he's thought a lot about these things, and this is still the conclusion that he's arrived at. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like this is just, because I feel like if you're like in elementary school or middle school, you have a crush on a girl and you walk up to her for the very first time and you're like, hey, I like you, or hey, do you want to go on a date, or hey, do you want to like do our homework together? And if she like says no, or doesn't answer you, or like just kind of laughs, right? Like, it's not unreasonable to think that a young kid at that age would be like one of their defense mechanisms to protect their ego would be like, oh, like women stink, right? But that's like your first time getting rejected. That sucks. At that age, you don't have a whole lot of maturity. So it's like, but then as you grow up, you realize that it's like making statements and generalizations like that are just wrong. That's just not how the world operates. I don't know what the cure or what the, I don't want to necessarily say cure, but I wonder what this guy has lacked that's gotten him to this position. Like, what does this guy need more of? Just human interaction in general? I don't know. He seems like well-spoken. Doesn't seem socially awkward. I wonder.
Told if people, saw what they were posting and saw what they were experiencing in life and did something to help them.
Was there like a pivotal moment?
I think that these guys aren't self-reflective enough. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. All right. It's not even really a secret. This is just kind of like a fact. You can list off most what guys would call like insecurities, and those just flat out aren't going to be reasons that like a girl isn't going to be interested in you. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you consider yourself short, right? Like, I'm 5'8". Nobody would call me tall. I'm not like extremely short. There are going to be some girls that would be like, it's a small amount, but there would be some girls who'd be like, I want to date a man who's 6 foot, right? If you're like in that height range, dude, no girl's like not going to be interested in you because you're 5'8". You know what I'm saying? That's not going to be a reason. Or like, if you think your nose looks weird, nobody's going to say no to you because of your nose. You know what I'm saying? It's usually going to be, there's going to be like other reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not there. It's probably something to do with like maybe the way you carry yourself, or like your vibe, or your aura. Like, you know what I mean? There's like, because at the end of the day, dude, the people who like go out and get it, when I say get it, I feel like you guys know what I'm saying, are just the people that put in the effort and people that try, people that put themselves in like comfortable social situations where they're like around guys or girls, whatever you're into, and like allow those like environments to like take place. You know what I'm saying? Damn, I don't know, Henry, I'm 4'10" and I have a massive nose. Hey, dude, there's somebody out there for you, man. I'm telling you. And so it's just weird. I feel like incels, they kind of give off the vibe of like they got rejected once, and then instead of like saying like, hey, what are things I can improve about myself? Or hey, maybe let's just try again because maybe that one person just sucked. They just then assume it's like a very caveman mentality where they just assume that like, hey, all women must suck. And nobody wants to be with me. And it's their fault. There's nothing I can do. It's their fault that they're like this. And it's because they're doing all this, and this, it's a really narcissistic, really like unself-aware way to look at things, I feel like.
In your life, like a straw that broke the metaphorical camel's back?
It's constant years of rejection, no matter who the person was, constant years of rejection in other aspects of my life.
I'm willing to bet that when he says constant years of rejection, he's probably asked out or maybe talked. He's either asked out or tell girls how he felt definitely less than 10 times. 100%. I'm willing to actually place a lot of money on that.
my life.
And dude, and he's probably doing it in settings too, where like it sucks. Like he'll do like a traditional thing, like guys think you got to pick up a girl at a club. You'll go to a club, right? Like a nightclub setting and try to like talk to a girl there or whatever. And yet, yeah. And you're just like, those like might not be the environments for you. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. I mean, 10, I don't know, I guess so. But like, I don't know. I guess the point I'm trying to say is like, it would still be wrong even after like getting rejected 10 times to make an assumption that like to make an assumption about women about this. You know what I'm saying?
It did kind of push me.
In the 6th grade, I was exactly like this. Like I was rejected by this girl and I thought all women were evil. Looking back at it, I was an asshole. Yeah. And then like, as you grow up, you realize that it's like, oh, it's not me. It's not them. It's me. Whatever.
Towards more, I suppose, radical beliefs. It did kind of push me towards the person was constant years of rejection in other aspects of my life. It did kind of push me towards more, I suppose, radical beliefs, but I suppose they're only like radical, but they're more just old beliefs, really.
No, it sounds like I had another like metaphor, like death by 1,000 cuts. It's not like one pivotal moment, but it sounds like a bunch of things built up over time.
Yeah.
One of the common criticisms about the incel community is that you feel entitled to sex or intimacy. Do you believe that you deserve sex or intimacy from a woman?
What you said earlier.
I think everybody at some level deserves someone that loves them and respects them, as long as you are also loving and respectful towards that person. They're an equal. You're not like seeking someone beyond yourself. You don't have like too high standards.
I think it stems from a lack of validation in the high school, and sometimes people find power by subscribing to beliefs that put those people that didn't validate them down. Yeah, again, it's like it kind of stems from the mentality of like it's your fault that you don't like me, not mine, right? So instead of this guy, instead of this guy saying like, hey, maybe there's some things that I can work on. Maybe I was a little bit too awkward. Maybe I came on a little bit too strong. Maybe I acted weird in front of them. Maybe I could like improve my personal hygiene, like whatever it is, you know what I mean? Instead of thinking about those things or like improving in those aspects, it's like, oh, hey, these people, it's your fault that you don't like me. And it's because of culture or society,
If you can tell the world about something about being incel that, that may not be in the internet or that's overlooked heavily, what would it be?
I don't know. I think it's mostly that most of the men are not inherently bad people. A lot of them are just lonely. They just need some help, really.
I believe that.
Would you say that there's anything that other people can do to help guide or just support or?
The lonely person in your class or the lonely person in your workplace, maybe he's an incel and he's not letting you know and he's just kind of afraid he wants someone positive. Just be nice, say hi, try and make friends with him. You don't have to date him, you don't have to whatever, just, brighten up someone lonely's day, I suppose.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
You don't want to be an incel?
No.
Why not?
Well, I mean, it's part of the whole involuntarily thing. I mean, you want to try and escape it. You want to be something better. You want to get a wife, get a girlfriend, get someone who loves you, spend your life with them, and be happy. And
what's one thing you wish?
It's so. I'm gonna finish the video.
I don't know.
Kick delay is so good.
I guess
Yeah.
I wish people would recognize how much effort I'm trying. I suppose. Like I'm working out typically daily. I've lost over 100 pounds. I'm out there job hunting actively. I don't think people recognize how much effort the incels in general try to put into bettering themselves. I would say people don't recognize their effort. They just assume that they're all like lazy and sad and angry at women and just giving up and things of that nature. I suppose. You don't have to see the bad things in the world and then come out a bad person. You can just see the bad things in the world and then improve upon yourself because of them, I suppose.
So you do have hope.
Yeah, I have hope, yeah. I'm a very hopeful person, I suppose.
I won't lie, this went a lot differently than I thought it would. I thought we'd be yelling at each other,
It was nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
I'm not gonna lie, I still have no idea what an incel is. Well, lucky for you, I have the Google definition right here on my other monitor. Incel, a member of an online community of young men who consider themselves unable to attract women sexually, typically associated with views that are hostile towards women and men who are sexually active. Usage examples. You wanna know what Merriam-Webster gives as example sentences for incel? The Texas Department of Public Safety 2020 Domestic Terrorism Threat Assessment said incels are an emerging threat because adherents have demonstrated their capacity for violent acts and threats. Next example. So what can be done from a law enforcement standpoint to prevent the next incel murder? Jesus Christ. Third sentence example. The incels came later, but the Jello Girls stuff was me and my dead mom getting dragged on Goodreads, less by men than women. I have no idea what that fucking means. The notoriously violent incel community was also banned and moved onto a hate site of its own. Damn. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. The last 3 minutes of this video felt very different than the first 5. Not all virgins are incels, but all incels are virgins. A quote that I saw on Reddit. True. My respect for this guy. The guy who said, do you believe that you deserve sex? Yeah, right. It's funny because like he answered it in like a really interesting way because, right, he didn't say that he deserves sex. He just said, you know, you deserve to have somebody that loves you. And you hear people say that all the time, right? If you're not having a conversation with an incel, people will be like, no, you deserve someone that's going to make you happy, right? Like that's something people say all the time. But like when we say deserve, it did feel like there was a conversation earlier that kind of weirdly tiptoed a line of like, you're just owed it. Like you might deserve it in a sense, but that doesn't mean it's just going to be given to you, right? Is this the first stream in 2 months? No. Oh, if you're looking at like my live stream tab on my channel, a lot of my live streams go unlisted. You don't have to date an incel, just say hi and be nice. Tell me why should we say hi and treat you nice when you actually don't think of us women as human beings? I mean, the defense for that would be probably because like, okay, let's just extend an olive branch and be like super empathetic here for a second, right? This guy probably grew up in an environment where he might have gotten bullied when he was younger. He says he's lost a lot of weight. And he's still a little bit on the bigger side, right? He's lost over 100 pounds. So he probably got bullied in school, probably didn't get any attention from girls, probably got made fun of by both guys and girls, which really must have really sucked. Probably didn't have a whole lot of social interactions with women. And that kind of pushes you into a really like dark place. So from his perspective, all of his interactions with women have probably been really negative. And this guy isn't like, yeah, this guy's views are just misguided, obviously. So I think just like anybody being nicer to this guy or telling him that he's worth it or deserves happiness is a good thing, you know? Because he said it himself, he doesn't choose this, right? I feel like calling yourself an incel just increases the amount of women that will try to avoid you. Yeah, probably. I hope the girl who asked who hurt you is living her best life today. Danger in loneliness is no one to challenge one's ideas. True. Isn't that a good point that she made? Because we can make the same point to someone who's depressed where they tend to shut out everyone around them. So she's trying to say they don't deserve to be treated nicely. That this girl made right here. Trauma turned into hate and unfortunately no one attempted to extend a hand out to help him. Right. And so like I think in an ideal world, there should still be people who like are nice to you. Right. I mean, this guy isn't beyond the point of like redemption. Right. He's no like, I don't know, insert terrible name of somebody in history here, right? We can make the same point to someone who's depressed where they tend to shut out everyone. I think she didn't make a good point. That isn't a good point that she made. Oh, okay. I was fucking totally misreading what you said. Yeah, and loneliness is a dangerous thing, man. It really is. Yeah, this guy probably just didn't have a whole lot of social interaction at all. Props to this guy for actually putting himself in the position to have discussions and hear different perspectives. At least there's potential a seed could be planted. Yeah, and it sounds like he knows he doesn't want to be this, right? This is just his perspective from like what's happened over the course of his life. So it sounds like going forward, as long as he has positive experiences, it sounds like he's open because he doesn't want to be this thing. So if he doesn't want to be this thing, then that hopefully means that he's open to a different thing, right? I met a guy like this. He kept going on and on about how women belong in the kitchen and are the caretakers while men work and provide. He was unemployed. Yeah, I don't know. I think the advice of like, what can you do is just like, especially in a school setting, dude, like, I don't know, school can be really tough for some people. You get ostracized in like elementary school, middle school, that'll like carry over. Like if it happens early on, that's just going to carry year over year. So this guy was probably ostracized at a young age, probably sometime in elementary school, and then like wasn't having any positive social interactions with women at all. And for him to like, I don't know, for him to talk about how he doesn't even think his mom is a role model. I don't know. Like, yeah, I feel like if you just have a little bit of empathy, this guy probably grew up with just a really flawed view of the world, and people just being nice to him in passing, I don't think is a whole lot to ask for. It's unfortunate, but I wonder what his family life was like. I have a few family members like this, and it's not easy. It's actual depression. Yeah, I don't want to make it's weird because like I don't want to make too many assumptions about his life because I realize that's toxic, right? Like I don't want to, like, I know I'm making assumptions about like his early school life and how he was treated and whatever, but those were kind of like based off of his own admission, you know. Tried to befriend incels before because they seem lonely, and every time I've tried, they put me down and assumed so much bad about me that I couldn't. That's probably a girl leaving that comment. Yeah, but I guarantee that probably did still help on some level. I don't know. Like that's really nice of that person to try though too. I've seen dudes way uglier than him get laid. Attitude is everything. Yeah, I was gonna say this dude doesn't even like. He's not socially awkward. It looks like he's trying to get a job. Seems well spoken. I don't know how old he is, but it doesn't seem like this guy would have trouble like in a social setting with women. He just kind of has to change his views. It's so weird. Like this guy doesn't really feel like necessarily like representative of like most incels, I would say. You know what I mean? I don't know. At least what I would say in my head is like what an incel is, you know? I don't know. Really interesting video though.